Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing. It's gonna take about 15 seconds before they hear it, to be honest. Hello.
Testing 1 2.
Testing 1 2.
Testing.
of the NPL Victoria. Tonight, or this afternoon, promises to be one of the more intriguing clashes of the campaign, with Avondale looking to be in inches of top spot yet again, with Heidelberg United defeating Dandenong Thunder 2-0 last night. As for Dinamo though, the relegation battle is still firmly on. A draw between the Port Melbourne Sharks and Melbourne Knights will sit in the rearview mirror and will be a positive sign for them as South Melbourne take on Preston Lions tomorrow. Hi, I'm Neil Simons, joined by Katie Lambeski for this afternoon's clash. It will be an intriguing one, Katie. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Neil. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. Looking forward to this one. Looking forward to it. It's intriguing. It is. And on the face of it, you know, if you look at the two teams on paper, you think Avondale should quite comfortably see this one out. I think Dinamo, you know, have the ability to make this really awkward at times for them. I think this might be a case of Avondale needing to be patient. I would just wonder whether they'll have that in them. Ultimately, Dinamo are going to provide a stern test, but I think Avondale will be up for meeting that.
Well, it was earlier in the campaign. There was a very intriguing result. St Albans actually scored first, it was, at Churchill Reserve on the back pitch, because the main pitch was being redone. But will that repeat today? We will see. We'll take you through the starting lineup, starting off with the home side in Avondale. Like Agwek, Yusuf Ahmed, Jackson Courtney Perkins, Sian Cuba, Daniel Edwards, Kelalu Kamara, Joey Katabian, Mayan in between the sticks, Christian Trajczewski, Stefan Valentini, and Evelyn Wellsmore. As for St Albans, we do see the returns of Michael Gulgic and Josh Gulevski, Gideon Arok, Marko Bulic, Lucas Burns, Joey Colliner, Oliver Dragicevic, Alec Mills, Joey Monik, Nicholas Murray on the bench, should I say, Nicole Platt and Jamie Exidius. Percy McFarlane drops out with suspension. He's accumulated too many yellow cards. What do we make of this Dinamo side under Cam Watson? It's not been easy for them this season. Of course, after starting fairly poorly, that 3-0 win over South Melbourne just over 3 months ago really kicked things into gear. As for now, it takes a bit of a different complexion.
It does, and I feel like it just speaks more to the level of competition around them and how hard the NPL Victoria has become to play in and how brutal that the league has come to play in. I think, to be honest, Cam Watson is a brilliant coach, mind you. He's someone who is a young coach, has the right ideals, but it hasn't quite, be it form, be it injury, it hasn't conspired him at different times, I think. But, I like the additions of Monik and James Idias here this afternoon. Making some good early running here too. Particularly the running capacity of Monik against those, Avondale wingers. I think it's going to be really, really key today.
Absolutely so, and I'm sure both sides will be very much looking forward to the mid-season transfer window. Both sides in different pursuits, one of which to stay up, the other to secure that elusive NPL Victoria title, which has evaded them over the last season or so, in which they narrowly fell to South Melbourne. Down that right-hand side now is Exidius, Gulevski. Looking to track back. He's body checked by Christian Trajczewski. Both players of Macedonian heritage. On that far side now is the Avengers. Of course, I wonder how much attention was to not just this competition, but the Australian Championship. We saw the trophy unveiled at 10 a.m. today. It will be in focus at South Melbourne versus Preston tomorrow. I'm sure the Avondale players looked at that photo and said, oh, this is a pretty nice trophy to get our hands on eventually, but we can't drink out of it because it doesn't exactly take that shape, does it? Tabian with a lunging challenge. Trajczewski. Yusuf Ahmed.
This is exactly where Avondale want it. This is in their possession. Just being patient, working through Dinamo's shape here. They won't be afraid to do that. Again, I feel like ultimately when all said and done, this is the best footballing side we have in the NPL Victoria, possibly outside the A-League. Good move in the offing here.
Here's Valentini breaking into the area across the face. Will it fall for Trajewski? Turns on to his right. It's Christian Trajewski. It's Sian Cuba. Now it's Yusuf Ahmed. And it's Trajewski again. And he just whisks wide of the goal. That was a pinpoint range strike. What an important chance for Christian Trajewski.
Absolutely beats me. Well, Sian Cuba didn't fire that shot there. I thought he had enough space, but he opted to play it through to a teammate. Would have liked to have seen him take that shot on at the first glance, but really, really ominous signs there for Dinamo. Just the passing ability. Here again, the press well in effect.
It's Valentini again. Fires over the bar. We've seen quite a lot of rotation in this Avondale side across the season, and has to be said. Luca Tavia conveniently left on the bench again, and so Yite Towns. And it's interesting to see how Katavian and Sian Cuba have brought their way back into the starting lineup. Katavian's more so been a bench player for the last 2 seasons or so, and has the captain's armband this afternoon to show. It's now Gulevski in the centre circle. Looks out wide. It's Lucas Burns who's offside. It's almost an embarrassment of riches for the Avengers as Valentini goes to ground, and George Ott obviously out with injury. We've heard rumours upon rumours of who will come in to replace him. My understanding is that Kieran Bramwell has been named, spoken about. I'm not sure how far that deal has trudged along, but we will have a look, and we will have a look. We'll certainly have a look across the next few weeks.
Big news potentially in the offing there. Just an embarrassment of riches, as you mentioned, and Kieran Bramwell will only add to that if that deal comes through.
We'll wait and see. Nothing confirmed though. As they draw it in field, it's Gulevski with space to shoot. Onto his left, it's Josh Gulevski. Just goes a bit too high and wide. Formerly of the Brisbane Tigers FC in NPL ACT. And made the switch over to Hume City under, at the time it was actually Cam Watson, who then, of course, was unceremoniously sacked last season whilst they were in second place. We've seen a very similar situation with Ricardo Marchioli, but Hume City aren't playing this afternoon, so that won't be the primary focus. It's Katavian. Dinamo mounting the press. It's Edwards. Dragicevic just over and out. What do you make of Oliver Dragicevic? He's came into the season as an 18-year-old, number 10 on his back, and has performed diligently, and one of the more standout young players in this competition. St Albans not exactly known in recent times for developing young players, but he's certainly one that's come through the ranks.
He's exciting. I've been able to see a fair bit of Dinamo across this season. Might hold that thought as Cuba gets into some space on the right side. But Gergic does really well returning, of course, to the lineup this week. Yeah, but Dragicevic is just someone who is really, I think, a quality player in between the arcs, in between the boxes. Someone who technically quite good, someone who I think needs the supply. He needs also the service in order to really have the effect that I think he can have. But all of this is just really fundamental to his development. I think he's in really good hands with Cam Watson as well. Exciting, and a player that Dinamo fans should keep an eye on, and NPL Victoria fans as a whole.
Yeah, came into the season actually as a 17-year-old, got 2 assists early on, and has kicked on. He's, of course, a St Albans born and bred junior. It's a really special thing to see, and he's obviously coming into the fray and probably the primary player in that attacking channel as a pop-up number 10. It's Lucas Burns, good touch, driving into the midfield space. Gulevski now out wide to Alec Mills. Joey Cholina. He's also in his early 20s as well, arriving across from Melbourne Knights a few seasons back. Cholina again. Gergic. It's Alec Mills. Mikel Platt. Gulevski. Cholina back towards Alec Mills. Looking to shift it around here, Dinamo. Certainly taking their time as one over the top. Mikel Platt can't exactly receive it in the half space. Now back with Dan Edwards, who, of course, due to the injury hit defence, has enforced it to centre back as Dan Edwards. Bryce, Kalalu Kamara, the likes of having injury struggles. Of course, Matthew Reid as well. Aiden Bryce still out with that hamstring tear. It's been certainly one hell of a season for Avondale in the defensive ranks.
An embarrassment of riches is very telling, though, once again. And Dan Edwards, of course, one of their new recruits, came into the club late last season and has fitted into that position really well. Ahmed into some space on the left flank there. He's well denied, but he is able to recover possession. A bit sloppy from Katavian through the middle there. No, he really should have taken a moment to probably control and be a bit more attentive in that moment, but Bantini does really well in that press. I like the approach of Dinamo here, though. They're not here to park the bus, they're here to get on the ball.
Absolutely not. It's a full press from them. It's Joey Monek, very tricky on the ball. There's Gulevski. It's back towards Gulevski. Can he get it in space? He can, and Stan Edwards is able to mop up the danger, and Trajewski in space now. Held very deep in the defensive far for the Avengers. Looks to launch one over the top, and that's going to see its way out for corner. In fact, it will throw it. Back towards Marko Bulic. Dragicevic, a rock. Looks a drive with it. It's out wide. It's Chelena. The Avondale ball here with Emily Wellsmore. Edwards. Kamara. Now towards Jackson Courtney Perkins. Valentini twirling onto his left. Almost holding hands with Alec Mills at some point. He's been forced all the way back into his defense and looking to find an option. He does. Eventually, it's Trajewski. Beautiful chest. It's Courtney Perkins inverted in the middle space. Katavian with a switch. Finds Yusuf Ahmed. An elegant touch from Yui Ahmed. Across the face of goal it goes. Still towards Courtney Perkins. Approaching the byline. Calls for a handball against Alec Mills. A wave clear. Valentini into the area. And it's Sian Cuba with the volley through. And the Avengers take a 1-0 lead. It was a matter of time.
That's the disparity in quality right there. You can see just how crisp and how sharp they are on the ball. Avondale, talent laden through the ranks. Use that ball to release Yusuf Ahmed down the left side. That started it all from Katavian. That is Avondale at their essence, at their absolute core. Cuba doing absolutely well to break into the box end and just see that one home. He has that in his arsenal, doesn't he? Sean Cuba has the ability to really make that run late into the box, and he's very, very hard and very elusive to mark. So I thought they would have to be patient here, but they've just gone for it, haven't they? They waited, they got the opening that they needed, and they took it at the first glance they got.
And I don't think they'll stop there. Not at all. You see Manuel Agwek looking to create space. That's his second goal in the NPL this season for Sian Cuba. Of course, missed the better portion of first half of the season, and has come back in and has fit in like a glove, really. He's had to bide his time, not exactly given the starting 11 position as soon as he came back, but he's as good as ever. It's Valentini now. Sian Cuba, heavy touch. Gulevski. Now Lucas Burns. And Cuba doing his defensive duties as well, and will be throwing to the home side.
Shouldn't be too downbeat about this, though. Dinamo, they've come here with the right approach. They've come in with the drive to get the ball on the ground and to really take it to Avondale. I think they've done that in patches. Just some repeat pressure, maybe just a decent smell of possession, locking the ball into their half. I feel like there's a change in shape. I mean, Michael Gergic is almost forming a back three alongside Mills and Arok. They've been very reliable, those two as a centre-back pairing, but Gergic is bringing the experience. It's going to allow James Zidius the opportunity to get further down the pitch as well. Lucas Burns, I think, is also a quality performer. He's got into some good positions. He's had some good touches. Again, I think they just need to get that something through them, tighten up through the middle, get Dragicevic on the ball a little bit more, get some opportunities for Platt and Gulevski going forward too.
That's the real task for them, and of course they do have the players and the arsenal to do so, but that's a very late challenge from Courtney Perkins, and I think Joey Monach might be in a little bit of strife here. Will they call for the physio? It doesn't look like they will, and just waiting for a second before we receive confirmation. Cam Watson and Billy Selesky. Avondale again, winning back with ease. It's Yui Ahmed in space. He looks to find the option of Manny Aguek, but isn't successful in doing so, and maybe a bit more throw. Of course, the other game this afternoon, Altona Magic taking on Hume City at 3:15 p.m. Altona getting themselves out of trouble for a brief period in the relegation fight after 2 successive wins. Sure, it'll be a keen eye on that game for all the other teams in that region of the table. Dragicevic coming deep to receive. Gideon Arok racing forward, looks out wide. It's Xidius Platt, good touch. An Englishman, only in Hume City last season. That's a poor giveaway by Monach. Franceschi spots Courtney Perkins making an inside run, and he looked to go all the way here, the Queenslander. It's Jackson Courtney Perkins breaking into the area across the face, and Michael Bullich can claim, but Dinamo almost asleep at the wheel there.
You can't give them that space. You can't give them that kind of loose pass through the middle. They will tear you apart going the other way each time. Their transitional play as well, Avondale, as well as in possession, is just second to none as well. I'm liking the work that Valentini's putting down the right side as well, just doing his duty defensively as well when called upon. Really quality in attack as well. An A-League player, A-League men's player, if there ever was one in my estimation.
Oh yes, and there are definitely multiple of these players that Avondale do have that could step up to that level, but opportunity is one thing. Here's Gulevski, left-hand channel, rolls it square, Dragicevic. Oh my word, Oliver Dragicevic! The boy wonder! What an incredible goal! Oh my goodness! He has staked his claim. Remember the name. What an unbelievable piece of football from St. Albans Dinamo. What a touch. And Mayan saw that rifle into the top right corner.
Boy wonder. Oli Dragicevic, take a bow away to make a name for yourself, kid. Brilliant play. Brilliant play. Timed that run to perfection at the top of the box and just did the rest with a beautiful, beautiful shot. Mayan couldn't do much about that, could he? He just saw it drift past him to that right-hand back post. Quality. Absolutely quality. Game on here at the Calabria Club, here at Adventure Park. And that might spark Avondale right back into action.
Almost didn't know how that ball ended up in the top right corner. It is remarkable, to be perfectly honest. It is absolutely unrivaled. What a finish. What a finish. Out wide, Valentini now. It's Stefan Valentini cutting onto his left. Can he create the space? He can't. He still receives the ball though. Valentini! Oh, it's been entertainment-laden these first 16 and a half minutes here at the Reggio Calabria Club. As we have a moment to breathe now, Katie Landeski.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just replaying that goal there by Dragicevic and just seeing the way it held on the breeze and just sort of drifted. Absolutely magnificent there. I don't think that took a deflection at all. That was all Dragicevic. He was able just to, I like the pause, just in terms of timing at the top of the box. Absolute elite quality from a midfielder and can be so hard to defend against. And, you know, they came here with the right approach, and this is exactly a reason or a display as to why they're taking the game right up to Avondale here.
And, of course, he still is only 17 years of age. Oh, potential foul call against Dinamo. I think it was Dragicevic who was actually brought down on the edge of the area in the D region. They are incensed, the coaching staff. We'll have a look at it. We'll certainly have a look.
Yeah, the Dinamo fans here in attendance very much voicing their displeasure. Dragicevic once again making an absolute nuisance of himself in between the lines. Can you look at the build-up to that moment, just the patience from the back. And we'll just take another look at that now. Yeah, Kamara's taken him out there.
Oi,
Kamara has absolutely taken him out.
That does look very bad upon introspection. We will have an assessment. We'll have a look at that. Hopefully he's all okay, though. He looks to be fine, which is good to see.
I mean, Kalilou Kamara, that was a solid hit. When he defends, they stay hit, you know.
He is a robust defender. He is most definitely robust. I think that's definitely something to say. Dragicevic, of course, spent some time at Melbourne City as well in the past and returned to his boyhood club last season and received 4 appearances there or thereabouts. He's still only 17, so the fact that he's done that well in a senior environment. I thought he was 18 before. You almost can't believe he's that young. Of course, turns 18 in October. Avondale, they've been in positions like these before across the season, and they went 1-0 down to the victory in the earlier portion of the campaign at one point. And to see now this situation before them, it's not going to be comfortable for them. I'm sure St Albans, they've known to be a very much hustle and bustle team across the years we've seen in the NPL Victoria. I'm sure they're not going to let this current state of play remain the same.
Very much lots of football left to play here. I just feel that the level of quality Avondale possess, even on the bench, Stepan Zini, of course, a name that we haven't quite mentioned just yet, on the bench, of course, this afternoon. So he's someone who will surely be called on by Zoran Markovski at some point. But in the meantime, they're just as calm and collected as they get. They've been in these positions before. On this elite run that they've been on, this will be there'll be no strangers to adversity.
Oh, not at all. And I think you look at St Albans, they've actually got a lot of experience within this side from, I guess, a defensive position, especially with Alec Mills and Michael Gergic. Gergic has been around the club for the better half of a decade, and you look at Alec Mills, it was a very, very good acquisition from the Preston Lions, probably spent time at the Bentley Greens as well, and actually had a few A-League games for Melbourne City back when Patrick Isnorma was in charge, and that's a very poor defensive error from Joey Cholina, and eventually Gideon Aroc is forced to play it out of harm's way as Yusuf Ahmed was pressing with much intent. And how good to see a fully fledged Yusuf Ahmed back and firing, really, on his day, probably the most devastating winger to have in this competition from a technical standpoint.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, ultimately, injuries have really cooled, I think, his run and his career at different times, but someone who is still at an elite level and someone who could easily play A-League. Again, he's someone who's not afraid to drift in, and he's also very smart in the way he goes about it, too. So, has all the qualities that you want in a winger, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I'd have to agree with you there. I would have to agree. Of course, Lucas Burns now, Mikael Platt. Looking out wide, it's with Monek, further more for Xidius. Not usual to see a right back wear the number 6, but nonetheless, he's befitting of that, and an easy giveaway and an easy win for Christian Trajewski. That's a heavy touch, uncharacteristically so. And Michael Gergic sends that away. That could have been a very, very dismal passage for the away side. If they were to put themselves in some more strife. Emlyn Wellsmore. Will win again. The ball, of course, Avondale have a quick turnaround. They face off against the Dandenong Thunder on Tuesday in the preliminary round 7 of the Doherty Cup, which will seal the final Victorian to be within the Australia Cup round of 32.
And that's not an easy contest by any stretch of the imagination, given the run that Dandy Thunder put on this season. Very much a bolted-on club for finals, I think you'd have to say at this point. Just a shame one of them has to get knocked out.
Yeah, it's a real shame. I think from a unbiased perspective, you want to see the Thunder make their first ever entry into the round of 32, but going to Paisley Park to do that is not going to be easy. A long trip for the Dandenong Thunder, and so too for the Avengers. Very much uncharted territory for them. I can't actually remember a time in which Avondale played a night game at Paisley Park. Usually they would play at Hume City's ground. Nasty old stadium. Dragicevic. Lucas Burns now into the attacking half for St. Albans Dynamo. It's Burns again. Twisting, weaving. His way through, and eventually it's Yusuf Ahmed who gives away the foul. And a tricky little customer is Lucas Burns, the ex-Port Melbourne Shark. We'll see Dynamo with a crucial set-piece opportunity now.
Need to make the most of it. That's indeed. I mean, Yusuf Ahmed, very much a forwards challenger, clumsy forwards challenge there, but also testament to the way that Burns was able just to get to that pocket of space. Very nimble, very quick on his day. Tough customer, tough player to come up against. Dragicevic to sand over this one. 2 men in the wall. A man in the middle this afternoon, Michael Uliara, is just giving some direction there.
He couldn't go direct, could he? No way. We'll see, though. Oliver Dragicevic. Dragicevic goes short. It's Gulevski. Might sit kindly for him again, though. But Dragicevic into the mixer it goes. It's Gideon Araka. It looks like Lucas Burns somehow had the run of the green and will receive the ball right into touch. Space for Chalona to look for the cross, but short. The advent of Joey Monarch presents itself. Now Chalona, heavy touch. And it looks like they will reset St. Albans Dynamo with a pretty good defensive passage from the Avengers. Bullich is going to send that long. Katavian heads on. Zidius. Monek. Zidius again. Look inside, and that was a good little passage, but the ball, unfortunately for them, was out of play before they could play in field and play the lateral pass forward.
They've been better, haven't they, these last few minutes in them? They've been the better team, arguably. Just need that final ball, just need that final touch just to unlock that key of the end of the Avondale defence. Wellsmore just going to go patient here.
It looks like Lucas Burns is going to show his pressing intensity. Cuba with a heavy touch and still retains possession and stepped out of play, though, to the delight of the away supporters. And it looked like they've travelled in numbers, not too far from their home ground. On the highway, Gulevski unable to receive the intended pass, and Mayan will take his time now on the ball. It's Kalalu Kamara, Sian Cuba. Katabian. Oh, that was an intriguing piece of play. Looks like just sat out of play, really. No one really made an effort to retrieve the ball there.
Need to sharpen up, surely.
Oh,
Again,
yes.
need to play the ball, every ball at its merits and try to stay focused. I guess it has to be the key here.
And the confidence from Dynamo, the laissez-faire stride from Alec Mills. He's never really seen him as a left fullback, but he does have the body of a centre-back. Of course, he's diverse in his shape of play. Very much gives off a Fletcher McFarlane type, where he can play, drop into the central midfield, play at centre-half. A player they would like to have this afternoon, but sometimes football isn't exactly fair.
He's been the Mr. Consistent, though, for Dynamo this season. That pairing he's been able to form with Gideon Arok has been really I think it's been a real positive for them. I know results aren't always going their way, but just the level of experience that they have coming forward. Ahmed here.
Here's Yusuf Ahmed, a great ball from Agwek across the face. Will it fall? It doesn't. What a goal line clearance from Gideon Arok. Calls for handball against Dragicevic. Wave clear. Dinamo spare their blushes, and they've won the foul to boot. In fact, no play will continue. It's Valentini across the byline, and it'll be claimed by Bulic in time. I was sure that was going to be a certain foul, but perhaps Michael Oliaris got a better view of it than we did.
Gideon Arok, oh my goodness, clearing that ball off the line. What a well-timed intervention. Valentini switching wings, of course, with Ahmed as well.
Unbelievable, and I think it speaks to his quality. Very much unheralded sighting across the competition, but many good people in football have told me that he is one to keep an eye on. Former Adelaide United youth product, and was a part of the FK Belgrade and Adelaide City sides in recent seasons, and has also spent some time at the Central Coast Mariners and Melbourne City. So he's really been here, there, everywhere, and I think he's right at home here at Dinamo, and I'm fairly sure can kick on because he's quite young, and he has the quality on the ball here as he glides through like a number 6 as he plays it towards Joey Monak. Cutting onto his right. They've got space in the area. It's Dragicevic again. And it just whisks wide of the goal. It was certainly closer than I initially thought it was. How about that for Gideon Arok to set the play in for time.
And just that approach from Dinamo is absolutely paying wonders here. They are coming into this fearless, and they are playing that way as well. The ability to take the game on, not shy away from every contest, and that's a great tackle. Dragicevic getting it done at both ends of the pitch as well. So if that's not an indication of where Dinamo's mindset is, I don't know what more we can tell you.
All about Dragicevic, one to keep an eye on, definitely. I'm sure not just NPL clubs will have a look at him. Sure, maybe some Isuzu Youth A-League clubs will have a look at him. I mean, to be performing this well against this difficulty of league, it's very difficult to stand out, and he's been one of those players. You think of the likes of Dylan Leonard, who played in this league as a 15-year-old, and anything can really be possible. It's Lucas Burns. What a great touch and stride through the middle. Out wide it is Joey Monak. Space to shoot on his left. Rolls it towards the left edge of the area. It's Josh Gulevsky. A bit of trickery across the byline, and on his side, a corner. Good work from the man they call Gulev. Looked the better side today, I have to say. In the attacking phases, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Half an hour in, on the balance of things and just the general state of play, you have to give the points to Dinamo right now.
Plaudits. Inside from Churchill Reserve. Dragicevic to take. Near post it goes. Katavian heads high. Dragicevic again. Bypass Jackson Courtney Perkins. It doesn't look like he did. And just utilised his teammate Lucas Burns for a bit of help. Eventually towards Exidius. Chalina. That's a bit of a shoulder check from Agwek. And Bulic is going to send this long. He did slip though. And Platt was there to pick up the scraps. No real urgency from Dinamo to play the ball forward. Katie Lembeski is very upset at the lack of intensity.
He got space in between the lines. Platt received that ball beautifully. But where was his teammates around him to feed off that ball? And he just missed his chance to go forward there. Just opted for safety to go back. Turn, go forward, run, take the game on. Again, the first choice keeper is not between the sticks today. So any chance you get to make Mayan work, you have to take it on. Even if it's from distance, take it on.
We've seen it has worked from distance, but Valentini might have something to say about that. Down the left channel, he switched wings. Racheski, heavy ball, heavy touch. It's young Cuba now, and his touch is heavy as well. Of course, we can't go 90 minutes without talking about tomorrow's clash. South Melbourne up against Preston at the Lakeside Stadium. We're expecting a crowd of at least 5,000 from what I've been told, hopefully. Should be a good afternoon, and get yourself down to Lakeside Stadium if you can. It's Exidius, infield is Platt. Space for Gulewski, it's Lucas Burns, he's kept on side by Courtney Perkins. He timed his run perfectly. It's Lucas Burns towards the byline, another corner won by St. Albans Dynamo.
Brilliant work there from Courtney Perkins in the pocket, just keeping it at bay and just really stepping up defensively there. Has the ability to go box to box. Brilliant midfielder as well in his own right. But again, the corners keep piling up. The pressure keeps building here on Avondale.
Absolutely, and we'll see what Lucas Burns can fashion. The change corner takers, but the same result arrives with a near ball header. Near post header, should I say, from Joey Katavian. It's Agwork, neat work, Cuba. Space on the right flank, and I'm not sure what he tried to do there. He spotted off the line a Marko Bulic figure. But, I think that was directed nearly into the scoreboard. It looked like. Can't fault the intention.
He just saw Bulic off the line, I think, but the execution not quite there for Cuba. And that's a story in and of itself, right? Particularly Marko Bulic in goal. Again, goes to show Cam Watson not afraid to shake things up when things aren't quite working. Jackson Riley very much the preferred number one in the early season. Begicevic now on the ball, going through the middle. I like this build-up. Gulewski linking up pretty well. He's dropped a little bit further into the midfield here. Opens up some space through the wings.
Here's Joey Monek. Space for Exidius. He's been forced, though, into a channel. And that's diligent work. But lost out possession. The shot on goal does arrive, and it's hit the head or the back of Daniel Edwards, and it will go out for a corner. And we'll also have a look at Paisley Park. What's happening there? We'll have a brief look, and it appears to be 0-0 between the Altona and Hume City. Shock loss for Hume in the Cup this week against Nunawading City. 4-0 it was. Unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff, to be honest. But Oz Cup action to follow midweek. Monac with the delivery. It's the near post. Katavian again with the header. That's 3 consecutive corners, if you can count correctly. Oh, that's a tangle of legs between, I think it was Joey Monac and Joey Katavian.
Not a lot of room for error there from Katavian.
Yes.
Had to be on point with that challenge.
Usually the captain for Avondale would be Matthew Reid, but at times it's been Aidan Bryce, Mute Towns. It's like Katavian's now taking the armband this afternoon. Very much deserving of it. He having been at the club more than half a decade. It's Platt now, and the corner ensuing for St. Albans. They are mounting the pressure. Mounting the pressure. And tempo setter at times it has been. Overlapping run of Gulewski. Stationary in his pursuits. It's Cholina. It's a heavy touch. Can he retrieve? He can. That's a heavy touch from Monac too. And Yusuf Ahmed will spread the play all the way towards Sian Cuba. And he lost out possession at that time and will keep his body on the ball. Trycheski driving into the middle. He's able to bypass Alec Mills. Twisting, turning. Can he find the pass? He can, but it's fairly wide. It's Yusuf Ahmed. Fashions in a delivery and the backwards header. I think it was Dragicevic will eventuate in I believe a corner. So Avondale with an opportunity here. Their main danger has been by virtue of counter-attacks. St. Albans need to be a bit more robust and assured.
Fair assessment. I think just the possession, the ability to really, for long periods of time. Avondale back has been really key, just the possession in the possession stakes. Dynamo using it really, really well, but you can't discount that transitional play of Avondale. Corner kick to come.
Sian Cuba towards the backstick. Kamara Edwards. Body's flying. It's Perkins and it's Valentini. Overhead kick. Yusuf Ahmed decides to try something similar, and it's over the bar. I mean, we saw an attempted overhead kick from Jack Pope during the week. That's the flavour of the month.
And why not? But I like that pressure there from Avondale. They just look far more threatening on the corner than I think Dinamo have in just some of their repeat forays forward. It'll be Dinamo with the chance to reassess, and Avondale looking to set up high on this press here.
Perkins. Mine. Kamara. Edwards. Wellsmore. It's a hybrid Queenslander Kiwi feel at that back four. Two Kiwis in there. One of which has played in NPL Queensland and primarily spent his time at Brisbane Roar. Did in Wellsmore and trialled Auckland actually in the off-season. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to secure a gig there. Might he be looked at for this season? Let's have a look. We'll see. Throwing towards Valentini. Tukicevic able to ensure Dinamo gets out of harm's way. Lucas Burns now. Miguel Platt. Oh, he just lost his footing just about and eventually gives away the foul.
Good work there by Cuba to deny that run as well of Platt. And it goes to show you just how well structured both of these setups still very much are, very fluid in the way that they approach it, interchangeable positions. Some really high quality coaching, high quality setup play here. Valentini looking to get that going.
Oh yes. And I think they're just looking to maybe be a little bit too eager. I think the touches have been slightly off pace. And maybe it's a short turnaround. I'm not even sure. 5 days is not much of a short turnaround, to be honest. But I don't know. It's funny how football can take shape. I mean, they conceded 2 goals whilst they were up 2-0 on Monday. I say last week, but it was the calendar week on Monday against the Victory. And maybe those lapses of concentration have come to bite them yet again, as we do see Gulevsky on that far side. Infield for John. Wide, Lucas Burns. Loses that possession. Exidius weaves away. Exidius still drifting his way through. It's Exidius still going, breaking his way into the area. Calls for a handball against Daniel Edwards. I think those will be waved clear. Michael Ulialis, and it's going to be sent down the line. A rock keeps it into play. Cholina. James Exidius morphing into Lionel Messi for a few seconds. I never thought I'd ever say those two names in the same sentence. Alec Mills.
Having a look at that again, I don't think there was much doing in that handball call, to be honest. Michael Ulialis had a pretty good view of it. Nothing doing in his estimation as well. Again, we're in that awkward moment now, less than 5 minutes before the break. You don't want to be going into the sheds conceding here.
And that's a really good touch from Mikael Platt to send Gulevsky out wide. It's Josh Gulevsky, and I'm not sure what the intention was there, but nonetheless, it didn't exactly bear fruition. Valentini tracking deep to receive. Into Katabian. Out towards Jackson Courtney Perkins. Driving upfield, past the halfway line. Looking out wide at Sion Cuba. Towards Courtney Perkins again. And he'll win the throw. Avondale. See the throw from the Avengers, and it looks like Courtney Perkins actually has, I think it's a Courtney in his knee. He's just gingerly walking away. I don't think it's much of a concern, but keep your eyes peeled. Onek, Platt, Cuba, it's Agwek.
It looked a little bit worse for wear there for a moment or two to Courtney Perkins. Moving a little bit better now.
Edwards out wide for Courtney Perkins. Kalaloo Kamara. Easy to forget he's been at this club for over 3 years, to be honest, and has been a mainstay in their successful periods as Kalaloo Kamara. Agua tracking deep to receive. Courtney Perkins. Jurgic was beaten off the ball here and did let out a very large scream. Yeah, we're discontent as he heads the ball forward now. Monek, Dragicevic. Just the physicality on cue from Annie Agwek. That's a good win by Josh Golevsky. They will stride past Christian Krajewski. The ball drops nicely for Dragicevic. Now Lucas Burns. Triangle, superb. Look to pop one out wide. I don't think it was intended towards any specific player. Just put it in the mixer. See who can find it.
Worked out, didn't it? I feel like it worked out pretty well, given opening up a bit more space, just given the pressure that Avondale were putting on in those last few moments. Great bit of a reliever here, and they got something going here through Burns.
Lucas Burns again, looking to drive inside this time. Lucas Burns past the byline. Kamara sends that out for another throw. Michael Gilgic. Alec Mills. Out towards Joey Cholina. Mills again. Gilgic. Murray United Jr. as well, so he's immensely well travelled, of course. Out wide goes Lucas Burns. Out towards Joey Monek. Tricky on his feet. It's Yusuf Ahmed who tracks deep to receive, and he's all the way inside his own penalty area. And eventually Edwards has to send it wide. Out towards a rock. Cholina. In fact, should I say Exidius. Drive inside again. Weaving his way around. It's Gulevsky. It's a save. Mayan, and it is also a minute of added time.
Still 0-0 across at Paisley Park this afternoon between Altona and Hume as we go around the grounds. NPL Victoria action kicking off right here on YouTube. Great turnover there by Mills through the centre. Blatt unable just to get on the end of that one. And it's tense.
It's tense, yes. It's I think tensity and intensity. I don't think intensity is even a word. Intensity. That should be a great ball from Yusuf Joey Katabian to find Manny Agwek. And I think Michael Gurgic, in fact, should I say Marko Bulic, has sent that onto the M2. So apologies to any cars that might be hit by Marko Bulic. But I think that's an honour, to be honest. Don't get him to pay the resulting insurance fee. Courtney Perkins, Agwek, heavy touch again, and that will be the half-time whistle. Well, a very action-packed 15 minutes it was. Goals from Oliver Dragicevic and Sion Cuba. Leaves this game at 1-1. Katie Lambeski, your initial thoughts?
Wonderful game to watch, to be honest. I know it has been tough in the clinches at certain times. I love the approach of Dynamo to the way they've come out here. They've come ready, they've come to play, and they've taken the game right up to Avondale. I think they match up pretty well. I know even off air, Neil, you forecasted this being a tough, trickier test for Avondale than most would initially believe, and it's proven that way.
Welcome back to round 18 of the NPL Victoria. It is Avondale against St Albans. We have a change at half time. It is Manulak Aguak coming off for Ute Towns. Isn't that intriguing? A centre midfielder coming on for a striker. What will the change in approach be in the second half, Katie Lambeski?
I think the message has to be from Zoran Markovsky and the coaching staff is get on the ball more. They're looking to control midfield a little bit more is my read on that for right now. Maybe Courtney Perkins advances further up the pitch. Maybe he withdraws from that midfield position that he was playing with. Maybe Cuba gets a bit forward, a bit further forward. Getting between the lines I see here already, so I kind of like this approach. I kind of like this shift. But Cuba almost playing as a false nine as the striker right now.
We have seen that before. Not like we haven't seen that before. We have. How successful should I say was it? I'm not sure, but I am very intrigued. Interesting nonetheless. And he's taken the captain's armband as well off of Joey Katabian, has Ute Towns, and he's playing very deep indeed. So they're looking like they're going to opt for a more defensive approach. It looks like on the surface level. I was thinking, surely they're not going to put up Joey Katabian at the number 9 role. Of course, you would know more than ever, Katie, covering this league for just about 10 years or so, that Joey Katabian is a striker at heart.
Even in his victory days, right, he was that creative attacking midfielder. His Brisbane Roar days, he was a creative attacking midfielder, and he's just drawn a little bit further and further into a more technical number 6 almost kind of role. So at heart, right, he still possesses those characteristics, right? He has the ability, he has the size, and I still think he has those techniques, like the qualities to be that striker, but those days might be well past him, or given the strength in numbers that Avondale possesses.
Absolutely. I think it's a case that he can still do it. When and how is try Chesky with space. Can he loop it over Bullich? He can't. He was close though. He was very, very close.
And Cuba lurking at the back stick as well, so that is also a sign that they need a more aggressive Sean Cuba. He's on the score sheet. He opened the scoring early in the first half.
And I think really for Dinamo, it's important that they have a resolute figure in the middle of the park. I think it's all go for them. I mean, someone that's a really good tempo setter is Fletcher McFarlane. He's suspended this afternoon, of course, with yellow card accumulation. I think it would have been nice to have him in this midfield. But I don't think exactly without him they're worse off in terms of how it's gone today. But as the game begins to venture into its latter stages, you would envisage that you need more of a tenacity to your game and a more resoluteness and calming figure. And Avondale have now got 2 of those players, in Katabian and Ute Towns, who's on the ball here. Tasmania. Lateral ball for Emmeline Wellsmore. It's Katabian who's entering into an advanced position. Looks like he might be playing that creative role that we hinted at, Katie. Dragicevic. Jurgic. Burns. Calls for a handball. Ulianis says, I don't think that's enough. And the press is mounting. Bullich, the ex-Melbourne Victory keeper. Being all ends up Katabian. Able to win that. The last touch came off a Dinamo player.
No uncertain terms there from Cameron Watson, wanting to see more from his charges there. They can't afford themselves, like any kind of lapse in concentration, any kind of lapse here will result, I think, in Avondale turning up another gear.
Oh yeah, that is the real question, the puzzling question, many might say. As Lucas Burns strides into midfield, gallivanting forward, and there's space on the left-hand side. Gulevsky will get a touch to it. And looking field, cross goal for Mikkel Plant, Tricky Mix, as they call him, TikTok extraordinaire. I've said that the last 3 times I've seen him play in person. As Mills looks to finish on the delivery. It's now with Cholina, back towards Gideon Arok. The Avondale players who are playing come up. Adam O'Hyack, believe that's Massimo D'Argenio. We haven't seen him for the better part of a year. Jot. Jacob Chinema. Bullich sends that long. Katavian looking to head on. It's Królewski. They want to get a nice good first look at it. And Katavian with a good timely interception and plays it towards Yusuf Ahmed now. Neat little 5-yard pass. Yite Towns. Fantastic turning circle he's always had. And Dan Edwards will shape it out wide for Kalalu Kamara. Here's Valentini now on the far touch line. Is it maybe a bit of a stretch to call Dan Edwards NPL Victoria's Lisandro Martinez?
I don't mind that by you. Someone, but he's also a lot more calm in demeanour, no? He doesn't have that crazy streak in him.
Yes.
But you look at a player of his stature is very valuable, right? Someone who can fit in across the back four, someone who can even push through midfield in my view. So I think that's someone who's a very fitting setup for Avondale, the world Zoran Markovski's son here, especially so.
I mean, we saw him do it 2 weeks ago against the Melbourne Knights. He got put into left back in the second half, and then on a bit of an adventure, and that obviously ended up with a pot of gold. Yusuf Ahmed, heavy touch. Well, Trajceski might get to it first. Bullich keeping off balance, off the post it goes, and that was a very peculiar phase of play, which ends up in a goal kick to St Albans Dynamo. And of course, might we say, Dan Edwards has had some career, to be perfectly honest with you, and Monash University in the eastern suburbs in New Zealand, and of course with the Port Melbourne Sharks, where he signed last season with Jackson Courtney Perkins at the Avengers.
Driving, not fighting.
The Rock really pressed in full flight. Avondale with the throw. It's Trajceski on the byline, twisting, turning, and Gideon Arok is going to go into the book. A yellow card for the South Australian.
Yeah, that's a foul every day of the week there. But again, Trajceski making a nuisance of himself, getting into those pockets of space that can really turn a defender in and out there. Quality performer, isn't he? Trajceski, someone as well who should be playing K-League, had a really tough run of injury for a while there, but now showing why he's one of the elite playmakers in this competition and outside the A-League. A dangerous free kick here now. Cuba, I think, to take.
Sian Cuba. He's already got a goal this afternoon. Can he provide the go-ahead second? Or maybe an assist, who knows? He is a goal contribution machine. As Sian Cuba rolls square. It's Joey Katavian. It's wide. And I think that shot has actually taken a lot out of him, it seems, and they're calling for the physio and they're looking for a change. Oh, dearie me. This could spell potential, I wouldn't say disaster, but definitely a troublesome event here. And I think Luca Tavia they have on the bench as well to utilise. I'm not sure they wanted to bring him on so early. Of course, fatigue is one thing. Going into a cup match on Tuesday, it's a 3-day turnaround there or thereabouts. I'm sure this is not good news.
Yeah, squad management matters so much at this time of the season, especially. Stefan Zinni also on the bench, so there's options galore still. You'll just move off to the side, to right here now. It doesn't look like there's a change in the offing just yet, so they might just give him a moment to go over with the physio. Then we'll keep an eye on him. He was almost in the exact same position from that strike of Oliver Dragicevic. Look to get underway here. No, Zinni to get the go ahead.
And it's actually not going to be what we expected in Luca Tavia. It's going to be Stefan Zinni, which I think actually spells more danger for Dynamo with the defence, as it's out wide. In fact, Joey Monek will have the run of the green. He's got the overlapping support of Exidius. Decides to use him. It's across the face, and there again, Dan Edwards. Mini Lisandro Martinez. I shouldn't say me. I'd say that's definitely a bit harsh. Kiwi Licha. How about that?
I don't mind that. I don't mind that by you, Neil.
Yes. Let's get into that time of the afternoon. Monek delivers to the central channel. We pick up yet again. Try his luck once more. The backwards header. Is Jurgic there? He is. It's Platt. It's a bouncing ball. It's head tennis. Alec Mills! Oh! In fact, it was so close to goal that Fletcher McFarlane's hat was right in my rear view in the commentary box.
Nearly. They looked good off the boot, didn't he? Alec Mills is venturing forward, nearly to devastating effect there for the visitors.
Wow,
Fletcher McFarlane was appreciating that.
Oh,
that's
yes.
for certain in front of us.
I saw him pop up. How can I not see the the hat of Fletcher McFarlane? They've got some very nice hats at St Albans Dynamo. I'm sure they would have been in full supply last week. I think there was a Croatian dancing event that sort of was across a few days. I think it was going to be at Melbourne Knights on Sunday, and unfortunately that game got postponed. But I think hopefully the dancing event still continues. It was a fantastic crowd last week at Churchill Reserve. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not really privy to the dancing endeavours of St Albans Dynamo. And Zinni, superb touch. And Stefan Zinni driving towards the byline. He shakes one in and it's into the trusty arms of Bullich.
Again, the approach very much the same here from Dynamo, right? Get on the ball and try to play through. But Avondale, pressing-wise and structure-wise, are more than up to this task. It's a risky game to be playing out from the back like that, but when you get it right, it can be absolutely devastating going the other way as well.
And I guess for Bullich, of course, he's a former youth player of the club that has a lot of familial connection to the club. It must be a very proud moment for his family to be getting consistent minutes yet again. Of course, Jackson Riley was in between the sticks for a lot of the earlier portion of the season as Avondale very much under pressure here from the press of St Albans. And eventually, Ute Towns is dispossessed but regains possession, and that is the moniker of Ute Towns. Tremendous work, but the foul is not awarded. Gideon O'Rourke gallivanting through midfield yet again. It's out towards Cholina. It's Gulewski looking to line one up. It's wide of the goal.
Doing a lot of good work on and off the ball throughout this game so far, Gulewski, but just that execution not quite there for him. Josh Diven in reserve on the bench for Dynamo, and we might see his introduction imminent here. Cam Watson may have seen enough. Dynamo again proving to be the better side for the majority of this game. Excellent move in the offing here though from Avondale. Trejczewski on the ball.
Towards the back stick he goes. Stefan Zinni looking to fire one long. That definitely did not get the full connection necessitated with his right boots. Well, we will see Nicholas Murray make his way onto the park. Of course, talented player in his own right.
Mikhail Platt taking lead there for Josh Diven.
My apologies. Sorry, Josh Diven. the Tasmanian Josh Diven. Of course, started last week. Wasn't given starting duties this afternoon. Talented player in his own right as well. And Ken has done it with Western United in the past. And here's another former Western United product. And Lucas Burns, who goes to ground. Katie, as you were saying.
I like the move. Platt was doing some nice things getting in between the lines, and just I think his build-up play was really good, but just the final product not quite there. Let off here for Avondale and look to get things going. Zinni has wasted very little time since getting on.
And that, of course, for Josh Diven, it's a really crucial opportunity for him to stake his claim tonight. Of course, 2 goals on the season, and was brought to the Western United Academy as part of that sort of Tasmanian expansion pathway that they attempted. David Clarkson was a crucial cog at that time. And you don't see a lot of Tasmanian players in the NPL Victoria. He's certainly one of them that's come into the fray. And a fantastic ball from Sian Cuba. An even more elegant touch from Yusuf Ahmed. It's Stefan Zini. What an outrageous save from Marko Bulic. And punches his fist in the air. Tenses up, and he knows that was a crucial save for his side. Not often you see saves with the legs from that tight of a range, but nonetheless, it was on show.
Back and forth it goes here at Avenger Park. It's tense here. Definitely both these sides know what's on the line here. The title race in effect here for Avondale. The relegation battle in the offing here for Dinamo. You wouldn't have known it given how they've approached today and the quality that they have shown today.
It's a great line-splitting pass from Dan Edwards and a sumptuous ball over the top, at least initially, as Alec Mills bats that away. 0-0 at half-time between Hume City and the Altona Magic. And, of course, that game has very much a lot of influence upon the relegation battle. It seems as Edwards now picks up in midfield, pokes it out wide for Emlyn Wellsmore. Edwards. Towns. Kalalu Kamara fizzed off the ball, but nonetheless, Valentini able to bypass Alec Mills. It's Stefan Valentini. And it's, I think, hits the near post, but the back near post. Doesn't make any sense. It's one of those poles that goes into the ground, as you can see on that near side. That's very confusing.
Indeed. Indeed it is. But also, how positive is it for Avondale that Yusuf Ahmed is getting into more dangerous positions now? I think that is a byproduct of the change that they made at halftime. Of course, if you're just joining us, you take Towns, replacing Manny Agwek, the goal scorer for Farden. Manny Agwek, 13 goals to his name this season. Again, that's a big, bold move to make, I think, from Zoran Markovsky, but I think it's doing what it's set out to do. More control through midfield. Chechesky through the lines now.
Chechesky traversing past the byline. It's Yusuf Ahmed, and he can't exactly get touch onto the ball. Blake Carpenter, the next one to be ushered in. We haven't seen much of him the last sort of 2 seasons. He endured a massive injury at the latter half of last campaign, and he's had to fight his way back to fitness, and he has now. He came off the bench on Monday, and we'll do the same tonight. And he is a very talented player, is Blake Carpenter. I think at one time was regarded the best fullback in this competition. Obviously that's since gone by the wayside, but what can he offer?
In terms of going forward, he's just as good defensively, to be honest. Someone who's adept at both ends of the park, but fantastic addition of a boon to have him back in the Avondale ranks. Courtney Perkins, I think, to make way for him.
Hold that thought as Monac has space on the right flank. Calls for a handball against Wellsmore. Way clear. A few shouts in the grandstand here. But might they use that as a posit or moment of motivation. There's a rock now on that right flank. Looks towards James Exidius. Fashions in the delivery towards Gulevsky at the back stick. It's Mayan. Remarkable. Was that an attempt to scorpion kick from Josh Gulevsky? I don't know. As Trojczewski is also beating all ends up, and Michael Gurgic was caught in the act. A yellow card to the Dinamo stalwart. Wowee.
Breathless passage of play there. How on earth did Dinamo not go ahead at that moment? Mayan, what a save. Confirmation of that change right here and now. Blake Carpenter replacing Jackson Courtney Perkins.
Well, I think that will... Yeah, there you go. It's sort of a like for like. I think we'll see Emlyn Wellsmore now sit on that right flank, I think, instead of... Yeah, that's the change. It looks like we'll see Kamara and Edwards as the centre backs, although Carpenter playing his more preferred left back position. There you go.
Interesting. I wonder if that's a rehearsed kind of planned move to get Carpenter back to full fitness and get Carpenter really reacquainted here.
Perhaps so. I mean, they might need him in the middle of the week with the Australia Cup qualifier. And this is certainly a moment in time in which you want to use him, of course. Dandenong Thunder, one of his former sides as well, so a bit of food for thought. Mayan. Ex-Western United keeper at one point. Also, I believe trialled at Melbourne Victory at one point. And Mayan is going to be tricky with his feet here and does very well. But Dynamo have put a wall in their front line, and Avondale have broken it. For the time being, it's Krajewski. Weaves away, looking to find options, and he's held by the shirt. Can get himself out of harm's way. Eventually he doesn't, but the foul, I'm sure, will be a bit of a helping hand.
Joe Chorley in close quarters there with Christian Krajewski. Brilliant work there from him. I think he's done a lot of work through that midfield this afternoon, so he's been key to what Dynamo have done. That young Dynamo midfield maturing and taking precedence in front of our very eyes.
Dragicevic goes to ground. I've been told that he was involved in a under-18 talent ID camp with Football Australia a few weeks ago. And Jerome Charon here, so might we see Charon come on later as run not quite checked by Josh Diven. Edwards to Mayan. Here is Dan Edwards again. Instead, Albans have sensed the right time to press, and Kamara with Lucas Burns, but here's Stefan Zini again, and beaten off the ball and will win the throw-in. In fact, the last touch came off Stefan Zini. And vents his frustration to the fourth official. Has to be very, very, very careful here. Does Stefan Zini. The outside of the foot pass. Joey Cholina. Now Michael Gurgic. Alec Mills. Avondale says, well, I think we'll press as well to provide some food for thought. It's Alec Mills. Lucas Burns. Zoran Markovsky having a chat with the fourth official here. Interesting.
I love NPR grounds. You hear every,
yes.
You have to hear
Especially
every little thing.
Park. You can hear everything. Sorry to cut you off, but yes.
This is why we love it. This is why it's the center of our universe.
Thank you, Warren Moon. Here's Gideon Rock. Zidius. Down the line. It's fantastic defensive effort from Blake Carpenter. Cholina. Oh, the triangle was exuberant and superb. The 1-2 with Exidius can't exactly be executed. But Avondale will look to fight themselves. It's Carpenter, and he looks to Zini. The afterburners are on for Stefan Zini. It's on for Zini. He drives in field. It's Stefan Zini. He looks to curl one, and I think it hit the back heel of Michael Gurgic, and it will be too easy for Bulic.
Read that well, didn't he? Gurgic just hold his space and just saw the angle that Zini was coming at there. Very direct, almost like a bullet in the way that he approaches it, Stefan Zini. Carpenter having, again, more of an influence in this game as it goes on, and his ability to transition. Avondale in that last passage of play, very, very key to that chance.
Nice win in midfield for Dynamo. That's Dragicevic. Beats past one and beats past two. He goes to ground, but play continues. It's Diven. It's Monek. The angle sits for Joey Monek across the face. Will it fall for Lucas Burns? It will not. Oh, Cam Watson. Well, at one point, I believe he was signed by FC Porto. I think at youth level, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe that's why they brought him in. And of course, most importantly, the former Moreland Zebra, is Cam Watson. Brunswick Juve.
space there for Ziddy to run onto. Caught back in offside position here. Counter transition move here in the offing, but Ziddy does very well to hold off. Equally up to the task is Dragicevic there. What a touch through the middle.
He's been, by far, the best player on the park this afternoon. And has added so much confidence to his game as well. The stride from Burns. He goes to ground. Michael Uliadis is not satisfied. But Joey Cholina will be satisfied with his intervention there. It's out wide again to Monek. A tried and tested formula. It's Joey Cholina. It's Divin. And it's out wide again for Monek. He's weaving away. He diligently beats past Kamara to the backstick. It doesn't fall. Eventually, the foul is awarded. I'm not entirely sure before, but we'll have a look and we'll have a break to assess and reconvene, if you will. Hume City have taken the lead just 2 minutes ago against the Altona Magic, and James Zidius is still in a bit of strife.
The new era of Nick Hegarty yielding early rewards there for Hume. Trying to get back underway here, just a little bit worse for wear is James Zidius. Came off second best in that clash through the middle of the park. Okay, now back on his feet, thankfully. He's been really good today. He's been solid as it is, just in terms of the way that Dinamo have set up. I think it's been really important. He's been had a license to get forward and almost operate as a wing back for most part. Dinamo again controlling the space. Dinamo again controlling where this game is being played, which is a massive plus against the side of the Fighting Avondale.
Absolutely, and it shows how much they've improved in recent weeks. It was a pretty poor period for them, but they've actually, I guess, the sum of their parts this afternoon have definitely punched above their weight. It has to be said in the NPL Victoria, but I think these last 20 minutes will be telling as to how the trajectory of the side will continue. Of course, the last game that they won in the NPL was quite a while ago. But we'll hold that thought as Monek now onto his left foot. It's Cholina out wide again. Ziddy is back on the pitch. It's Div into the back stick. Now it's Monek again, and it's all too difficult for him. It's Gilgic. Zidius now all over the Avengers at the moment. And Carpenter. It's left towards Dan Edwards and Mayan. He's going to send that ball long and send it far, but I don't think Young Cuba is going to be able to retrieve their last win against the Port Melbourne Sharks on March 23. It's been 2 consecutive draws for them. They've waited just about 3 months for a win. The last away win actually came exactly 3 months ago. CJ Towns goes to ground just outside the penalty area, and I think there might be a bit of others here, and Michael Lialis is going to come and sort of quieten down the tempo or subdue the tension. But this is a absolutely focal and crucial set-piece opportunity. Lucas Cablaya coming on, a prolific goal scorer in the under-23s competition. He has been Lucas Cablaya, and I think going to come off. We'll have a look at the board. Joshua Gulevsky, I think, has actually, alongside suspension, has also faced a few injuries, so he'll make his way. Luka Cablaya, the 19-year-old, to come on. Sian Cuba, edge of the area. You have to go direct here. Katie Lambeski, could this be the opportunity?
I hope he goes direct.
You hope so.
To be honest, he has that in his locker. We know that.
Sian Cuba. standing over this one. The game-changing moment for the Avengers in their title race pursuit. Or might it be Blake Carpenter? It's Sion Cuba! Oh my word! The save! And it's bundled in eventually! And I believe it is Dan Edwards! What a save from Bullich, and the follow-up does arrive! A gut punch to Dynamo! A gut punch to the Burgers! And with 8 rounds or so left of the campaign, Avondale FC have retaken the lead.
And that's a fantastic time to do it as well. Dan Edwards just getting on the end of that. Marko Bulic, what a save. That is absolutely cruel on the Dynamo goalkeeper. He pulled that out of his top locker there, but Dan Edwards gets into a pocket of space, gets unmarked, and is able just to bury it home. Well, I hate to say it, but Dynamo caught lacking there at that, defending that set piece. And Edwards makes them pay, doing oh so well at the back, getting it done at the other end as well. What a moment for Avondale, what a moment in this title race, Neil.
He had never scored a goal for the Avengers in the past, last season. 3 goals this season, and a few of them have been in games in which he started at centre-back, as they were quite literally dominated for the entirety of the second half. It is, well, inevitable. Avondale take the lead. More of an assurance rather than a formality. You never know what Avondale can do. When they're down and tested, they will capitalise on all opportunities. But I'm sure St Albans will not exactly give way. But how about the resilience and a centre of gravity from Yite Towns, trundling through the middle. He looks out wide to Zinni, and it's a save for Bullich. But Dynamo want to fight. This is a crucial game in terms of their relegation prospects. And I'm not sure where that leaves them exactly or precisely on the table at the moment. But as a result of that goal, they've slipped down into 12th. And now are at least 2 points from safety. And that is an absolute gut punch as they've looked the better of the two sides this afternoon.
At the same time, the truly great teams respond when they are under the pump. They respond when they're under pressure, and this is exactly what Avondale have done. The best teams find a way, even when they're not at their best. They're not at their best, and even when they're not at their, at their zenith, if you will. And they've done exactly that.
Well, that is exactly right. Shout out to Suited and Booted. Mayan. Halalu Kamara. Well, the press ensuing, but I'm sure Avondale will play out with confidence. Although it looks like Dan Edwards has hooked that right into Stefan Zinni. This is delightful. Franceschi forces it out wide. Wellsmore, an elegant touch, and Valentini is most surely onside. It's Stefan Valentini, who misses from point-blank range. Zoran Markovski can't believe it. Oh my goodness gracious me. What an opportunity to bury this contest. Oh my word.
They've absolutely come home with a wet sail here. Have Avondale. They found another gear when it's mattering most. There's still a lot of football left to play in this game. You just see that move starting with Tracheski through the middle of the park. That's way too much space to give someone.
It's Cuba. Valentini will try his luck again. I can't believe he missed that. Might that come to bite them? Might. Burns heads into space and slightly ahead of Josh Diven. Kamara forces out towards Zinni. Stefan Zinni driving wide. Middle to attack. He does, although no one was there in the right position for the lateral ball. Monek. Yite Towns. Oh, he's so good on the ball. He's fantastic on the ball. It's Christian Tracheski. They are in full flight now. This is the Avondale
This
that we know and some of us love.
loved, hated, adored, certainly never ignored. That's the absolute
Yes. He
fact.
couldn't
Zinni in the pocket there, Zinni in space, but Trejčeski looks to take the shot on himself. That could have easily been the end there for Dinamo. A bit of a let off them. Trejčeski, I feel like he may have needed to pass that one off, but nevertheless, the creative fulcrum of this side leading the way.
Something has to give in these latter stages, and I feel like Dinamo will certainly get at least a few shouts at goal. And it's Josh Diven. On that left-hand side, it's Lucas Burns. And it just quite isn't sitting for them as they would like for St. Albans Dinamo. Well, I mean, for them, next week, it doesn't get much easier. The Oakley Cannons at home on Friday night. They did win the reverse fixture, so that is something to keep in mind. And Oakley themselves haven't looked too great this season, to be honest, by many accounts. And shock 5-2 loss last night, should I say, to the Melbourne Victory.
Didn't see that one coming.
No, not at all.
But that leads toward a tantalising contest next week with finals implications, title race implications as well. In the contest there is Monik, always in the fight.
Here's Joey Cholina, space to attack. Towards the backstick, Wellsmore near own goal. But they get themselves out of danger. They've done it so many times this evening, but they keep themselves alive. Dude, Dinamo, it's Exidius. Sliding into space, James Exidius. Over the bar, Jerome Charon. He's spent some time at Huesca in Spain. He's had a lot of time in good areas of the pitch this season. And I think he will be the attacking player they will bring on in replace of Joey Monek.
Tireless as usual, Joey Monek. Tracking up and back so often. A creative outlet for his side as well.
And again, it is Towns under pressure. But he's like a gazelle. And how he's able to line up the pitch and be so persistent and precise in his passing movements. That's a poor giveaway from St. Albans. And Stefan Valentini is going to capitalise mighty so. He won't. Gideon a rock. Towards Bullich, and Dan Edwards is going to come up to receive. Good touch from Dan Edwards. Scurries, receives. Oh. Bit of a push from Joey Cholina. Edwards over towards Valentini. Look to milk the time, you'd think, or to drive himself. Valentini, a bit of trickery next to the corner flag. Zinni. And I think he's been called for offside.
Might be a little bit too soon to go down into that time-wasting kind of mode.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, they will handy seconds off the clock and time of the essence here for the visiting Dinamo.
Well, that's precisely the point you make. That's a great ball down the line. Certainly is going to provide a lot of danger. As Mayan has been beaten off. Mayan sit for Jerome Charon. It's Diven. Can't exactly beat it away. It's Dragicevic. Needs to visit out to the left flank. Mills. Charon. Dragicevic deep. He's been a bit quiet in these last 30 minutes or so. Since that in that first 30 minutes. Exidius drives it low. Diven. Cabrera. Across the D. Dragicevic. Further left. It's Mills. Fashions the delivery towards Diven. It sits for Lucas Burns. Oh! That would have been the two best goals you've seen from St. Albans in quite some time. What an opportunity. Katie, you saw it before I did.
That was ridiculous. That looked nailed on from our vantage point. That looked like it was hitting the back of the net. Deary me. Maybe there is some life left in Dinamo yet. Lucas Sevilla in the offing here, just getting his final instructions from assistant coach Jeff Fleming. Ball just on the edge of the box here now, but Avondale doing really well to cover back here. Chesky opting for safety first. Just trying to take the sting out of this.
Well,
Game management is so important here.
Well, it's a game management tool that they have to utilise. Only just the 5 minutes remaining, and I don't think exactly Avondale will be all too satisfied with the 1 goal buffer. And I think Zinni would have been more surely offside. And to bring on a player like Luca Tavia now is it's a luxury to have, I'm sure. Lucas Burns. He's managed to get a good first and second touch. Across the face, to no one in pursuit. That was the opportunity you'd expect. Dragicevic goes to ground. Wellsmore did incredibly well there. It's Sian Cuba now. He's going to fashion that long over the top. Valentini being a foot race with Michael Gergic. He will, and he will receive it into touch across the byline. Trajeski is there in the middle. It's Valentini. It's a fantastic defensive lunging header from Gideon O'Rourke. It's Stefan Zinni cutting onto his right. A curling shot into the arms of Bullich. Dragicevic.
Need to throw caution to the wind a little bit here. Dinamo, that may bring on a mistake that Avondale can capitalise upon, but they have to go for Brokey if they want to take something back to Fox Street, to get something out of this game here on the road. And that change coming into effect now. Luca Tavia,
I think, will be Stefan Valentini coming off. I'm sure he's the type of player that would take his time, but I don't think he will be tonight. I think we can say it's tonight. The little floodlights are on, or what they have here are floodlights. Makeshift, might you will.
winter very much upon us here. Tavia would walk into any starting 11 in the NPL Victoria.
To bring him off the bench is crazy. It's crazy.
Again, the shadow that looms all over us, of course, is the Australian Championship, and that's, of course, going to loom over the next transfer window, as well as both the inaugural championship clubs seek to strengthen ahead of that. What a massive few months ahead.
Oh, yeah. It's a very exciting time in the NPL Victoria and nationwide, with the Australian Championship commencing in just a few months, which is very, very nice. It's Diven on the edge of the area on that left-hand side. It's Diven again. They're going to take their time in possession. They created some space now, though it's a wall that might be impenetrable. You don't see Avondale do this too often. Gideon O'Rourke. Cabrera. Out wide, it's James Exidius. It's fizzed in. Cabrera, Zinni. It's eventually with O'Rourke. Good touch. Laterally, it's Lucas Cabrera. Joey Cholina. 87 minutes gone here at the Reggio Calabria club. Cholina again.
Can't help but feel that there's going to be one more big chance for Dinamo here. They may find it here.
It's Exidius. Cabrera, he's got a better from Stefan Zinni. Continue to wait for the attempted shot, if there even is one, for Dinamo. They've scored a late equaliser before. They did it last Friday night. Can they do it again? Lucas Burns. James Exidius. In space. Kamara. Diligent. Dragicevic. Neat ball. Jerome Charon. Good touch. Can he feed it inside for Diven? He can! Oh my word! The second time in 2 weeks! Josh Diven with the 89th minute equaliser! The late show on the Cam Watson continues! I see it, but I do not believe it!
Are you not entertained? James Exidius, the key to that move once again. lurking forward, is always looking to find the opening. But Josh Diven, what a lovely ball. Poaches onto the end of that. He fights and scraps through it. Mayan coming off the line. Josh Diven, what a moment in this game.
I'm sure the St Albans Dynamo supporters of old would be so happy. It's eerily reminiscent of those times under Kruni Razov and the likes. 3 minutes of added time, and they might have the going here. 3 minutes for Dynamo to keep their survival hopes alive. 3 minutes for Avondale to lock up top spot. Oh, don't you love this league?
They deserve it. This is the very least that they deserve to come away from this time still in the offing here.
It's Trajewski on the right flank. Tavia in the middle. It's Luka Tavia. Can't even get a touch to it. Now we're in number 17. He's lost 10 digits to his number. But Lucas Burns with a tug of the shirt on Blake Carpenter and a headbutt from Blake Carpenter. Well, that is a decision that's been made by Marco Uliaris. It certainly looks very much clear as day that it was a headbutt.
Marco Uliaris just in conversation here with his assistant referee. This might be a red.
Oh, wow. Blake Carpenter has gone into the book again, and it's a red card.
Rescinding the yellow card, rescinding the original decision. Lucas Burns' yellow card for his part in that fray as well. Oh dear, it's all happening here.
This is NPL Victoria. As if an 89th minute equaliser wasn't enough, Blake Carpenter, after coming on just about 20 minutes ago, will be having an early shower tonight.
What was he thinking? That was a headbutt. That's a red card every day of the week. Cam Watson made that absolutely vehemently clear as well on the bench. But again, seeing red both metaphorically and literally, I think in that sense, Blake Carpenter.
Just so unnecessary. So unnecessary from the South Australian. He's such a great player, and that's going to disrupt his momentum. And Alec Mills is going to drive forward. Can Dynamo do it? You wouldn't think they could. Can they? Cabrera looks towards Jerome Charon. And it's him and Yusuf Ahmed in a tussle. Charon goes to ground. The free kick for Dynamo. The free kick for Dynamo. We are now in the 93rd minute, the final minute of stoppage time. Can the impossible dream turn into reality? Avondale haven't been defeated at home since a 3-0 loss to the Oakley Cannons in the semi-final last season. Relegation threatened St Albans Dynamo. The 17-year-old with a free kick is Dragicevic. Oh my word. It dipped, and I think it dipped so much so that it actually made a poor kid fall down. But there is time for Avondale to provide the all-important winner. Dan Edwards. Trajewski. All members forward for Dynamo. It's now all but a different complexion. And it's with Dan Edwards in space. Tavia looking out left. Not quite on cue with Stefan Zini. Laterally for Luka Tavia. He's under some pressure. And referee Michael Uliaris has blown full time. Dropped points for Avondale again. The title race continues to heat up. This week, the Burgers will finish on top. And St Albans Dynamo rescue a point, keep their survival hopes alive, but you have to argue that both sides probably should have taken the 3 points. You never really say that, but probably true.
Oh man, I gotta say I can't help but feel that Dynamo were the better side for over 90 minutes. Dynamo for the bigger part of that game, for longer stretches of that game, and just overall, I think we're the better side. Josh Diven making an absolute name for himself in that moment, stepping up when he needed to. manufacturing that goal, and it was coming. Like Avondale hadn't quite saw off the challenge, and Dinamo just kept knocking and just stayed in the contest. They couldn't quite kill them off, and as a result, Dinamo take a point, a big point on the road as well. No, again, we thought this might have been tricky for Avondale this season, for this afternoon, excuse me, and it's proven thus. Dragicevic and Divan. Dragicevic with a goal of the highest order, setting the table. Avondale finding their way forward as well through Cuba. And we end up all square as a result here. What a contest we have been treated to. I have that up there as one of the games in the NPL Victoria season.
Oh, for sure. And it will be talked about this week for good and bad reasons for both of these sides. Neither side can be happy with the result. I've been Neil Simons. She's been Katie Lambeski. Enjoy your Saturday night.